Yeah, you got that right. Outriders is getting a massive legendary buff update very soon. That's going to pretty much double the chances for legendaries to drop across the board. And not just that, the devs are also introducing for the first time ever specific legendary loot from specific encounters, though with a twist. We will talk about that here in this video. So what's up everybody, welcome back to some more Outriders gameplay and news. And man, what an update do we have for this Thursday. Now yeah, they came in earlier today with this announcement right here, going over their future plans, and next week is when we're gonna get this big update among many other changes, so let's jump right into it. Anyway, let's get started with the Thursday dev news update right here, going over some of the changes regarding legendary drops, the signing issues that still exist, but there's also some patch news and some news about appreciation package. But I want to start things off with the legendary drops specifically because these are pretty big. So we're making some changes to the legendary drops. These changes are not live today, but are planned to go live as part of our next patch. Here are the changes you can look forward to, and by the way, they did mention a bit later that the patch will be sometimes next week. But I'm starting things off with the legendary drop rates across the board will be increased by 100%, essentially doubling whatever the drop chance is right now for any specific piece of content. Furthermore, legendary level brackets will be removed so that all legendary items can drop at any level. For example, some items could only drop previously from enemies of certain levels or above, like for example, Yugake Cowl could only drop from enemies of level 48 or higher, which would have been a nice piece of information to know a few weeks ago because I've been hunting for this at high and low levels and I never got it. Totally let me know down below if you ever got the Yugake Cowl in the end. Nonetheless, here are some interesting changes for the legendary anti-duplication system that they will be implementing. So the system will mean that if a character has an item in their inventory or stash and a duplicate item is rolled, the dropped item will be re-rolled once. Let's say you already got that piece of armor maybe, or maybe that piece of weapon, it's going to re-roll it once and hopefully it's going to be something better. Though I will argue that this might also mean the opposite of good, so pretty much bad, that you would roll something also completely useless instead of like just getting a duplicate of a maybe very good item, but maybe I'm wrong on this one. Note that this system does not guarantee that every drop will be unique, rather it is designed to provide a second roll at avoiding a duplicate, which is yeah pretty much what they disclaim right here. This at the very least should fix some of the problems with the duplication, so at least in theory you should be a little bit, you know, closer to whatever item is left for you to get, but it's still not going to fully prevent that. In fact, I think it's not gonna do too much once you get closer and closer to having all of the legendaries and only missing like a few more pieces. Still, let's talk about scripted boss loot. We said earlier that there are some bosses in the game that drop some items like the Crystalloid and Yagak at the end of the game. Yeah, but these now will be able to drop all non-class specific legendary helmets. So yeah, if you were missing that Yugake Cowl or anything else of sorts, which I assume many do, this is how you're gonna be doing that farming for the helmets. So this change will improve the variety of items in the campaign. Previously, these bosses would only drop a selection of legendaries, the same pool that was available in the demo, as well as the cannonball helmet, which was pretty much it. It was helpful in the early stages, but eventually, once you reach level 50, you would just jump into CTs because it was not worth doing them anymore. So I'm glad that they are introducing them in a way for us to farm them even in the end game. The luck system will also be improved and players should no longer experience very long droughts without a legendary item dropping during end game, which actually is probably the most important change right here, because now they kind of removed that, so the base scaling of legendaries dropping through higher difficulty levels still applies, so you may still want to farm as high as possible yeah, this includes CT15. Assuming you're doing that, that's gonna give you the best chances out there to get the best possible loot. But moving over to the signing issues, I still can't believe we're dealing with this so far into the launch, but our upcoming patch will include changes and improvements to the backend sign-in system, which are aimed at improving sign-in times and mitigate against signing issues, especially on the Xbox. I will just make a side note right here, given the fact that the player base right now is at an all-time low. It was not the huge number or the influx of players causing these signing issues all along. It was just their crappy servers, that's it, just their backend or whatever they're calling it. Simply the way they implemented it is just so crappy that even at a very low and substantially diminished player base, it still causes these issues. So I'm baffled that this still exists. But for the background, currently when the game signs in, it pulls any data tables related to balancing that have been updated since launch. Downloading a great number of these tables may be a root cause of the signing timing out and players ultimately getting stuck. We are now cooking the update tables directly into our next patch, which should improve signing times significantly. Let's hope that like the 5th time is the one that finally gets it. Moving over to some of the patch news, let's talk about this. As I've said, the patch news, yeah, it's still under testing, so this update isn't going live today. They are hoping to release it early next week, though yeah, they mentioned that they will still confirm this. So some of its content can be found in the known issue list, but it will include a few other new things as well, including some potentially significant improvements for multiplayer sessions they mention. The above signing issue combined with the legendary drop chance is one of the reasons why we need a bit more time with this patch. We did not want to implement the legendary drop chance, changes via the backend while at the same time running the risk of negatively impacting sign-in times, so we needed a bit more time to add these changes into the patch. They also came in a little bit more with the appreciation package. Suffice to say, this didn't roll out quite as planned. Yeah, I didn't even get mine, by the way. I checked out. I did not get an appreciation package, but yeah, no biggie. We're sorry that many of you received the weapon you already previously had obtained. This was not our intention. We're currently refining the appreciation package script and are planning to re-grant the package to players who will have claimed it between its initial release last Thursday and when its new version will be deployed, likely next week. Any items already obtained through it are not going to be removed from your inventory. So as long as you just log in once, maybe even with the next update when it drops next week, you should in theory qualify for it, assuming that it is finally going to work. And there's a full list of known issues right here that they will also introduce with this update, like for example the very annoying all items being marked as new when entering a new gameplay session, which would be resolved in the next patch. Also for the Pyromancer Feed the Flame skill not properly proccing ash effects in multiplayer should also be on the list right there. Certain mods not working, by the way, in particular when you're the client during multiplayer session. There's been a number of reports that people just feel weaker in multiplayer. Reason being is because yeah, those mods just don't proc or don't work properly there. And there's many more in here, including players dying while a shield is active. I'm pretty sure that if you played with a trickster at least once or with a mod that would generate shield, and yeah, if you died under those circumstances while still having a shield activated, you probably wondered why the heck that happened. Well, that's being investigated in this new update. Full list of patch notes right below if you want to check them out. Looks pretty promising. I cannot wait to actually jump back in, and this double legendary drop chance might actually make me farm a little bit more again, but we'll see how long that lasts, because we could use some new content around this time. Let me know down below what you think about this, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.